What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Single, lonely, childless men and the economy. And I was actually going to do something else, but, I really have to touch on this issue. This is based on, several factors. One, a conversation I had with Master Yao. And y'all should check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description box. And also, what I check out when I'm online. Because I don't, honestly, believe it or not, I don't really check out a lot of videos talking about relationships or whatever. I'll be focused on economic and business issues and everything. Indeed, because, I have a money channel. And I saw this couple videos on this one channel, the Atlantic Report. I'll give them some credit because it was a couple videos talking about all these restaurants about to go out of business. And indeed, even also some retail stores going out of business. And I remember when I first saw those videos, I was like, well, yeah, the restaurant's going to go out of business. People ain't going on dates as much. And, there's a dearth of children because usually you're taking them to these restaurants. Because even when I go to some restaurants with my sons, there's a lot of families and stuff in there. A lot of the ones I go to, there's always some families. Always. So, and that's the ones in this area. And this is where I'm at, though. You got a lot of kids and everything. So, and even then, a lot of restaurants have closed up. This one place closed up. I was shocked. It was more high end and everything. But I was like, even then, you have an idea why the stuff is happening. But a lot of it has to do with single men, single, lonely, and childless. And interestingly enough, I had talked about this a couple of times on my Money Matters channel. One video I had actually forgotten I did it too, because one was called Lonely Single Men and the Economy. Now, when I did that, I was struck how everybody was going in there talking about their relationship experiences. I was focused more on the economy. I talk about relationships very little, very, very little on my Money Matters channel. Once in a blue moon, I'll say you and your mate need to have the same money consciousness. But, so I talked about that. A lot of guys got on there and they I was like, wait, this ain't a relationship channel. I'm talking strict more about the economy. And then, I had looked it up and everything. I wanted to get an idea how many views. Now, I told you on my money channel, if I get 300 views on a video, I'm doing well. But this particular one had 2.7 views. And then the one above that had 2.9 views. That was talking about American men not working being a major issue. And it's still the economic thing. So, you know what? I was thinking about all of that after the conversation with Master Yao and seeing those things on the Atlantic Report. And I think I said I'll put a link to the overall channel. Just go through it. And, I was thinking about all of it because, first of all, I'm going to tell you what, because we're in this political season. You got all these polls. Yeah, people like this candidate, whatever. This candidate shouldn't run. This candidate got some issues. Here's from somebody who got paid to do political analysis. And if I ever need money bad enough, I'll do a political channel. But it'll be so hardcore. I probably had to disable the comments. But look, here's the thing though. The economy is so important. If you want to know who's going to win the presidency, wait to see what the economy is like closer to election day. I don't care who it is, whatever. As Bill Clinton famously said, and he got the statement from James Carville, I think his name was, an advisor for him. It's the economy, stupid. So it's important. So the economy is important. But what's affecting this economy is profoundly affected by single, lonely, childless men. Because, I'm going to tell you what, and I applied, I don't just say, oh, them. I applied it to myself. Let's just say, well, I'm technically single, that I'm not in a steady relationship, but I got access to women. I got options. But I thought about it. I said, well, what if I didn't have that? What if I didn't have that at all? How would I move? And then I said, what if I was lonely? Like, truly lonely. And I was like, And then I thought about the main one. I said, what if I was childless? What if I had, because I always joke that my sons are my pimps. But I actually thought about it. Real quick this morning before, I was editing some videos. I just wrote it out. I said, hold up. If I didn't have my sons, a whole lot would be different. First of all, I wouldn't be in the space that I'm in. I wouldn't need it. One of the reasons I got it was actually, I wanted each one of them to have their own room. I'm serious. That was, that's part of like my home training. Taking care of that stuff so they own space. But if I didn't have them, I wouldn't need it. Like say I didn't get married, didn't have children and stuff. Heck, I wouldn't be getting the raw kale that I'd be eating because my co-parent, she still cook for me. She'll still make stuff. She gets insulted if she makes something and she offers it and I don't take it. She gets straight up because one time she offered me something and I wasn't hungry. So I said, no, I'm all right. She waited about 5 minutes. Hey, do you want some of this? I was like, I better just eat it. just eat it. Oh, man. But what if I ain't have that or, experienced marriage or something like that? What if I was like, God forbid, a virgin? Like you do got some or sex count is less than 2. Because that's affecting. There's so many guys out here who are affected by that. Because it affects the economy for one simple reason. Because, like I said, this morning, I was just writing it out. I was like, if they weren't around, I would save a whole lot of money. I wouldn't spend nearly as much. I mean, a couple thousand. Because when they do work around my place, I pay them. That's the only way to get money out. I don't give them anything for free. My training of them is, if you want money, you got to work for it. But then, even then, you're still in a parental position and, you're still going to buy them things, big things. And then with their schools and everything, got to pay some money. It's like, damn, they're getting a lot of money out of me, And then, we go to restaurants a lot. We're known at the restaurants around here. Shoot, we got servers. As soon as we walk in, they before we even ordered anything, they bring in what we drink to the table. But I'm thinking about it. Would I be spending that much amount of money? Because when we go to the restaurants, $100 ain't nothing to spend. Where we go, after we finish eating and everything, because they eat. But I wouldn't have to spend that money, I wouldn't spend that money if they weren't around. That's like nearly a couple hundred a weekend. And then they like to travel. We close as a family. We close, real close with my sons. And that alleviates loneliness. But what if you're a man, you don't have children? You don't have children in a family. Indeed, you got a whole bunch of men across the country. And, there's always that cliche of living in your parents' basement. You got that, but then you got a lot of guys, they might be living in a rental house where you got several people in. They just got a room. That is very, very, very common. Way more common. And then some, they stay single. They lonely. Don't have any children. Don't have, no real options with women. No real options with women and everything. And then they just, they say, I don't even need a home. There's a lot, like even in this area, like in my county, it's a 6-figure county. It's up there. It's not a poor county. Got some poor, but overall, let's just say I can take a right at this turn up here and be among some mansions and stuff. And you got a lot, they building like crazy. Harford County crew, y'all know what they're doing in Aberdeen. You know how they build it over there at Aberdeen. So, and even then you still got some homeless men walking through. You got some homeless men because they just like whatever, But all of that affects the economy. All of that affects the economy. Because let's use the restaurant example. If you don't have a family, you don't have kids. Well, first of all, children by themselves. Think about how much money you got to spend on a child. I heard somebody once say you got to spend about $1 million on you. By the time they grow up, you probably spend maybe $1 million, maybe a couple million on a child. If you don't have a child, that's not going into the economy. If you got a critical mass of men, particularly they talking men under the age of 30 who are single, they not putting some money in because they're not spending it on the children. And I know some people say, well, the women are getting and stuff, but hold up. The women ain't having the kids. The women aren't even having the children. So, that's why, there's always a big issue over child support. But then if you get some men, they not even getting the women pregnant. And then all those guys with multiple kids, there's only so many women they can stroke. There's only so many. And let's be real. Let's be real. The average man, if he even has kids, and that number is like between 40 and 50%. It's not even over 50% men who even have children. A lot of men just have one child. But then if you got a whole bunch of men out here not having children, they not spending money, that's not going into the economy. Because think about it. Restaurants close, everything. Toys, Toys, it's a whole lot of the economy is based on the children. But if men ain't getting these women pregnant, that money is not going to be spent. And then so many other things, even dating. Dating itself. Now, I know I'll be in the car talking about, you don't need to spend money and all that. But that's only for the seriously select men. That's only a small percentage. Everybody else got a date. Even if they take them someplace like inexpensive. But why these restaurants going out? Men ain't going on dates as much or trying to woo the woman. And even though I'm against the whole spending money on a woman and all that before you really get to know her, let's just be real. So much is affected by it. Like when you go in the local malls, I remember you used to go in a mall, you could have, you go in the center part of the mall, you got 4 jewelry stores, all on each corner, all of them full. If I go to my local mall now, there's one jewelry store that barely had, I can go in there and nobody's in there for a little bit. I remember I was in there with my sons one time. The watch I had on, the battery died, so I just stopped in a jewelry store. This woman had nothing but time to fix it. Nothing but time to fix it because nobody else was coming in there. Because you think about it, you think about diamonds and that diamond industry. First of all, the only real use for a diamond, practical use, is really, I don't care what anybody say, but it's the truth. You can use them for lasers. Otherwise, they're strictly to woo the women. Make them feel good and everything. Oh, I got a big diamond. One of my gym buddies, her husband gave her a big ring for the anniversary. I say, man, you could go out here and shine a light on it. I got another buddy like that, got one of those big rings. But they're useless though, other than that. But if you have men who are in marriages or relationships, if they ain't they ain't gonna buy the diamonds. Think about it. Just go to any of your malls. How many jewelry stores do you see? People ain't buying that stuff like they used to. That's affecting the economy. And heck, it even affects the women because a significant part of the retail economy is so women can look good. I told you, I used to work retail. I used to work in a department store. The main section was the shoes, the bag section, and the cosmetics. If you got men ignoring the women, they not going to grab it as much. They say, well, why? Because the men ain't paying attention, and let's be real. When you talk about the top of the line, me and Master Yao laughed about this. We said, Mr. Goodbar ain't going for the ugly ones. Shit, that woman got to be a baddie. How many women out here baddies? So that's that's just affecting so much, because the guys don't, what they going to spend money for? Like I said, I was applying that situation to myself. I wouldn't be in as big a house or I definitely wouldn't be doing this. You know, wouldn't need to make money, because my primary reason for making money is not even for women, but just for my boys. You know, primary reason for staying, like keeping my health up, is to be there for them as long as I possibly can. But what if they weren't around? I probably would be like, or what if they weren't around, got zero attention from women? Because a lot of these guys are not voluntarily lonely. Now, I don't go for that whole the women forcing to be lonely, but if a man ain't getting attention from women, he's just not attractive to them in anything. You know, yeah, it's partly on him for not working to make himself attractive, but, you know, he might be like, a lot of guys going to honestly be like, well, what the fuck for? You know, what the fuck for? And if they feeling like that, shoot, what they going to spend money on? Not even on the women and stuff. What they need to get that big old place for? What they need to get that fly car? Because you get a lot of guys, they getting the money and doing what they doing for the women, motivated by the women. In fact, in that book, famous book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill even said that. He said most men, they do what they do to impress women. They make money to impress women. I mean, that's a reality. Yeah, my personal philosophy is you can get a woman without that, but just be real on it. Every man don't got it like that. Best I can do is teach you how to get to that point. And yeah, they'll get with broke men, but let's just be real. Most men, they going to make some money to impress a woman. But if they ain't impressing a woman, they ain't going to do it. In fact, I said one time, I said this a couple times. I said, if you want to take away a man's motivation, tell him like no matter what he do, he ain't going to get no pussy. No matter what he do. And watch his motivation go. If you could hypnotize a man. That's like a twisted, diabolical science experiment or something. Right there and everything. You know, I mean, seriously, that'd be some diabolical ass shit. Be like, let's convince that man that no matter what he do, he ain't gonna get it. And see, that's unfortunately, that's a reality for a lot of men. There's a lot of men, they saying, what the fuck? What the fuck should I work hard for? Get extra? Get this nice car? It's shoot, even body game. I can say health all I want, but let's be real. Most men gonna get body game to get a woman. What the fuck they gonna do it for if they ain't gonna get one? Seriously. Oh, and that's affecting so much. That's affecting retail. They ain't gonna buy nice shoes to work out in, workout gear. They ain't gonna spend money at some of these gyms. That affects so much else. So, but real quick, I'll be back in a second. I gotta get some food out of this place. They the only ones who got something I'm looking for. I'll be back in a second. All right, y'all, I'm back. I had to just get some stuff out of the store. My friendly neighborhood Sprouts. Yeah. Anyway, check it out, right? Check it out. You know, because this thing, when you talk about these lonely single men, here's the bottom line with it. The bottom line is they're not spending money. Now, somebody could say, well, they spending money on porn and all of that. Well, there's actually a whole lot of men that ain't into porn, as big as it is. And then a lot of, that's it. You got people in relationships into porn, so that's not necessarily the same thing. But think about it, though. And even then, they not as motivated to spend money on getting a home, or at least a big home, right? They don't have children to spend money on. They don't have children to spend money on. And they definitely not going on dates, because seriously, dating itself is a major part of the economy. If you look at restaurants, clothes, venues to go to, shoot, you got businesses out there, they really strictly for dating. They might not say it, but that's really about dating. All of that. Jewelry industry, clothes, everything. And like I said, that affects even women. Because if they ain't getting no play, shit, they ain't gonna get those like 5-inch heels and everything. Hell, you even get women getting those BBLs. They ain't gonna get it if they ain't gonna get no deep behind it. So it's like, it affects everything. Because understand something. Regardless of what they say, the economy is really, well, you know what? You get some reports say, well, the economy is 70% based on consumer spending. I would seriously argue. I mean, that could be the case, but I would argue it's 100%. For one simple reason, because even stuff you think isn't based directly on consumers, like they'll say like research and development. What's paying for that research and development? Maybe some government grant or even research and development of government. What pays the government bills? Taxes. Taxes. Even like in any jurisdiction, government workers, they might think, well, you know, we ain't dealing with consumers, but your salary is paid by taxes. Not just personal income taxes when people paying, because that's really a little bit, but it's paid for by sales taxes. What the fuck, man? I saw that bus stop. See, like, y'all remember yesterday I said something, don't be passing a bus when they stop it. This person just drove right past it. Bitch ass motherfucker. But anyway, right? Government bills, anything with the government is ultimately coming from the consumers, because they get not just the consumer taxes, but when you buy something at that local grocery store or retail store or any place, unless you live in Delaware, you're paying a sales tax, and even they'll get it one way or the other anyway. Property tax, something, right? They're going to get tax money. Where's that coming from? Ultimately, consumers. Even if it's not directly, it's coming from the consumers. But if the consumers aren't spending money, then they got to cut back on programs. That's why you got a lot of towns. There's a bunch of towns in the U.S. that really became hellholes because a primary employer might have moved out or something. When you get some of these, like in the United States, when you have some of these factories that gradually moved out, and they were the primary employer in a city, it messed up the city on multiple levels. Because so you got to have consumers. But if you get a significant part, like everybody was talking about, 63% of men under the age of 30 are single and lonely, which means they ain't having children. They ain't gonna be quick to spend money. Shoot, that's why you got a lot of young people. They just say, fuck it, stay home. At least they get a little bit of companionship. Shit. At least they get something. And they probably and most likely staying home rent free. So they ain't motivated to go out, make money. That don't go to taxes. They ain't buying as much. Shoot, I know plenty of guys like that. They in their 30s, even 40s, still at home. And they don't spend much. They work and they come home. They might get something, to entertain them or something. Get some some streaming service for a little bit of money, do something. But they ain't spending it on dating. They ain't spending it to get some big home, because what they would do if they would get married, because that marriage thing, because it's consuming. Because a single house, I remember I saw this video ages ago, and it was about how much just a single house, just a house, can add to the economy, because you got to put stuff in, you got to put furniture in it, you got to eat, you got to get repairs, you got to pay property taxes on it. Even if you don't even own the house, you still got to pay rent, you still got to pay utilities and everything. That's generating money. But how's that generating money if somebody ain't buying it? Just seriously. Nobody's sitting in that house. That's not generating money. But why should somebody be sitting in a dude lonely? You ain't gonna go out and spend money the same way. Very, very few single lonely men are gonna buy some big old home just to exasperate their loneliness. That's not gonna happen. That's the thing. And you got to think about that. And that's really affecting the economy. See, people, what's interesting, because, every now and then, I actually had some idiot come say, Brother Rom. First of all, I knew it was some white boy anyway calling me some Brother Rom. But, yeah, man, I think you should leave that gang stuff to the younger men. Well, first of all, that relationship thing is affecting the whole economy. That relationship thing affecting the whole economy. We can't get past that. No relationships, no marriage, no kids, and you got significant portions of the population concerned that there's a dearth of children being born. That comes down to relationships. I mean, this thing with the single men, that's affecting a lot. And contrary to popular belief, Chad and Tyrone, Mr. Goodbar, they can't service every single woman. And a lot of them don't want kids. know quite a few players, man, they got vasectomies. They get one kid, they good. So it's like, and shit. And really, the Goodbars ain't really spending money like that. Shit, well, you get some of these guys who still getting sex, but you know, they hobosexuals. They maintenance men. So that's affecting it. That's affecting it. You know? And honestly, it's probably a lot of, let's just be real. I ain't gonna use the word good and call them good men. But honestly, if you get a man who's, any of these men who are generally single, lonely, and yeah, they got some issues they got to work on. They probably got some issues. But when you get generally the men who will marry the quickest, and this is for all these women talking about they looking for a husband. The men who will marry the quickest, the men who will likely be good family men, are the same men, many of whom are alone. Here's why I say that. If a man know he ain't getting women like that, he gonna settle quicker. I said that in one of my books. Man, I got so much stuff out there. Many men settle for the woman who just had sex with them. Shit, they gonna be quicker to settle. Even if they know that woman, shoot, indeed, some of them, that woman might step out on them, but as long as she there just enough, a lot of men settle. But if they ain't getting nothing, shoot, no motivation. And, you know, I usually like to talk about solutions. Now, in general, I do offer a solution in terms of helping men to become more select, or at least more attractive. Because you can't force it. Like, I've heard some talk about forced monogamy. That shit ain't gonna happen. That shit ain't gonna happen. Because I'm gonna tell you what, like, you get some guys thinking they can force some women into something. I tell you what, try to mess with it, even by force. Because you get some women, I'm tell you something now. You get some women and you might even try to use force and all of that. And she'd be like, Eddie Murphy kind of told this joke. She'd be like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm in the wrong. You go to sleep now. And in the South, shit, you might get those grits. They know. Those hoodoo folks know. Old South, they know it. You mess with a woman the wrong way or try to force her and shit, you might wake up with your shit cut. Or you die and shit. So you can't force them. So you can't force it. And you can explain to a woman all day, like, well, maybe you should give guys a chance. And I've said that. I say, look, just be reasonable, as long as the man working on some shit. But even then, it's gonna you can't force it. And I touched on this a little bit earlier. Shit, women are affected by it. The economy, like all these single women, shoot, they not going to be spending money as much because they spend so much going to getting their hair fixed, getting those clothes, getting those like pump Jimsons, those heeled shoes. Shoot, if they feel like they ain't gonna get nothing, they ain't spending as much money. So it's a trip all the way around. It's a trip because, like I said, people try to put a percentage on it, on the consumer spending, how that affect the economy. But bottom line, it does. Have whatever percentage you want to. You don't have to agree with me when I say it's totally there. You don't have to agree, but the fact is, it's still significant. But people don't consume if they don't have motivation to consume. Like a single, lonely, childless man, well, at best, he ain't gonna be wanting to go to fancy restaurants and sit by himself. Now, some guys will, they don't give a fuck, but they just trying to get away from the girlfriend or the wife for a little bit, a lot of times. Or they do have the option that they like, you know what, I just want to eat here, chill, But most guys ain't gonna want to go to some expensive restaurant by themselves. Or, go out, hang out. Seriously. For what? And then if they don't have, they don't have that date that, sponsor and shit. Because, like I said, personally, and especially with Goodbars, don't have to spend it. But most guys, they might have to do a little something. you know. Unless you become, get the skills to become that guy who don't have to spend money. And that's cool. That's cool. But let's just be real. Most guys are going to think it anyway. But the woman, you ain't with the woman, so you ain't going to do that. Even if you want to treat her to something. And then kids, trust me. Like I said, any parent who's raised a child, they'll tell you if they start like adding it up, they probably spend a couple million on their children. Indeed, in this day and age, they're probably still spending money on their children, one way or the other. But that's taking it out now. You might say, well, so it's just a couple million. Well, that shit become a trillion. Start adding up the men, and then it's affecting having children. Shoot, how many businesses are affected by that? How many school systems are affected by that because they don't have children? How many toy companies? I'll shout out Toys R Us. I remember they used to be big. Now at best they in Macy's now. They got like a section in Macy's stores. And even then, you look, kids ain't buying it. They don't have the kids to buy the stuff. In fact, in my local Macy's store, shoot, they put the toys in with the baby stuff. They could cut back on the baby stuff because not enough babies. So it affects it all the way around. Seriously, they ain't spending. And like I said, I usually try to offer a solution other than trying to help a man become select and do the things to become select. And that's not just his physicality or like how tall he is, but having a mindset. Yeah, I can do that. I got some success stories, definitely. But a lot of guys are gonna be like, fuck that. Like that viral video I did. I say pay attention to the women who want you. I'll be straight up. A lot of guys say women don't want me. It's gotten to the point on there where guys have said it because I don't even leave those statements. Fuck the bullshit. You know me. I have zero qualms about blocking and deleting. It's gotten to the point every day I'm deleting that type of statement. Women don't want me. Women don't want me. Even though I gave a solution in the video. People who listened to it fully heard the solutions to getting a woman to want you. But just the fact you got a lot of men like that, it's like, that got some other stuff. That got a lot of stuff, buying a car. Like I'm behind a big Ford Explorer now. Somebody, if they ain't got a woman or something, they lonely. What they need to get a big old truck for? They ain't gonna have kids for it. What they gonna get it for? And let's be real, a lot of guys get it to impress women, but if they ain't lonely, what they gonna get that for? Shit, depending on where they at, they might not bother getting a car. That affects the auto industry. The economy is totally affected. Totally affected. So all I can say about it is there needs to be serious conversations about all of this. There needs to be serious conversations about this, So, because if there's not, there's going to be serious issues. Because it's just going to get worse. And, you get all these highfalutin economists, so-called economists, and they talking all this technical shit. I'm like, well, first, you need people to spend money. You can't get past that part of it. You got to get people to spend money, but what motivation they got to spend money? Seriously. Because the economy is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Because, in fact, in the United States, they said, like, the greatest time for the economy was 1945 to roughly, I forgot the exact years, but I'd say roughly around 1945 to, like, the early 1970s. Greatest time. But a lot of people will say, well, we had the manufacturing, we had this and that, all valid arguments. But we also had the baby boomers at their height. We had the baby boomers. You just had the consumers. Seriously, you just had the consumers. The key to any economy is demographics. I don't take any economist seriously if they don't mention demographics. I don't care how many degrees they got behind their name, how official they sound. If I look at the material, in fact, if they write a book, say I see an economist book, I'll pick it up because I check out a lot of business books. I will pick it up. I'm gonna go right. First, I'm gonna go in the table of contents. Don't see the word demographics. Okay. I'm going to go to the index, which let me put Professor Rom's face on for a second. Whenever if you're going to get a book, a nonfiction book that's supposedly research, always look at their notes and everything, index. I go right to the index though. If I don't see the word demographics, I don't even bother going through the rest of the books. That's what it is. So that period, which was a great period in American time, you just, like I say, the baby boomers were at their height, and then you still had the previous generation. Then you had Gen X getting started. Just getting started. They were babies, but it was a big change because all you got I'll say diminishing population. In fact, I'm gonna throw something political. I'm just gonna throw it because you got a lot of people against immigration. The people at the top know what they're doing. They want that money. They want that consumer. So don't they put on a lot of shows in Congress. And Congress politicians, they put on a lot of shows. Corporations run this country anyway. But that's another conversation. But even the corporations, they stay in business because of consumers. So if you got a significant part of the population who's not consuming, that affects everything else. I want y'all to think about it. Seriously, just think about it. And any solution, it would take, here it is. It would take a serious change in culture. It would take major changes in overall culture. And that, some of these bullshit culture wars that people talking about. But it would take a serious change in culture to facilitate people mating again. Really mating and trying to come together. It would take that serious. And actually, I could tell you, I could probably break down, even write a book on what it would take, but it would be considered radical. It would change, a lot of shit would have to change, a whole lot. You're talking like a restructuring of society. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But other than that, it's just something that's just a reality. These single, lonely, childless men, that's affecting the economy. So one way or other, it's affecting you, even if you're not a single, lonely, childless man. Or even if you're a woman, it's going to affect you one way or the other, because the economy affects everything, even politics. So, anyway, I want y'all to think about that. Because, I know I'll be in the car usually cursing and having fun, but, well, I tell you what, to see another side of me, just check the links I have below for those two videos from my Money Manners channel, and definitely sub it. Definitely sub it. So anyway, think about what I'm saying, because, whether you care about this relationship stuff, man gets woman and everything affects everything else. Nothing's insulated. Everything's holistic. All right? So anyway, that's all I got for today, y'all. I'll get back with y'all tomorrow. Peace and blessings.